Hi there, my name is William Hall. I'm a native of Okmulgee County. I was born in Henrietta, Oklahoma in 1952 and graduated from Wilson High School in 1971, small little community southwest of Okmulgee. After I completed my high school education, I attended Oklahoma City University where I got my bachelor's degree in speech and theater education. After teaching a while in Oklahoma City and the surrounding area, I came back to Okmulgee County because my grandfather was sick. I didn't intend to stay very long, but things changed. Along the way, I changed professions several times, and I met a man that I began to have a relationship, and we were together for 32 years before his passing. That being said, I became a hairdresser. I worked with doing hair for years with my mom and that different people. It was just a natural gift. And so I attended beauty college here in Okmulgee, graduated, and I have been doing hair at Okmulgee for 38 years. I've been in this location, which is the original barbershop to the Kennedy Building at 109 South Grand since, well, I've been here for 29 years. I'll celebrate my 30th anniversary June 1st. I've done a lot of things throughout the community. I've been involved in the Main Street program. I was on the Creek Council House Museum Board of Directors. I've also served as the Historic Preservation Commission Director. I have served on some state level positions with Main Street. I have also been involved in a lot of other charities. One of my biggest involvements has been with the Miss Oklahoma pageant. While I attended Oklahoma City University, which of course is the home of 3 Miss Americas, I became involved in doing hair and makeup, and then as it evolved, I started coaching girls, and then I found myself directing a pageant, and then I found myself a field director, and then I was on the board for Miss Oklahoma for several years. I recently retired, but just this year I started judging again. I can honestly say being a part of this community has been very educational. We have such a diverse background and cultures of people, but we all seem to blend and find our way. We have a large, very large Native American history because we are the home of the Muskogee Creek people who came here from the southeast regions of Alabama and Georgia. And the Council House, which is right across the street from me, is a sure reminder of why Okmulgee is here. It was built in 1876, along that time. It's not the original, but the original was a 2-room log cabin. But when we did the restoration on the Council House, I was on the board then. And when we excavated, we actually have pictures of the old Council House foundation and the firebox. And the new Council House was built over the top of that. We also have a rich culture in African American history. Okmulgee has, I believe, the only African American parish here in Oklahoma, and that is Uganda Martyrs. And even though we have another parish of St. Anthony's of Padua, the 2 parishes combined do a lot of stuff together. We have a rich history of religion. We have several churches, several denominations. We're a family-based town, and it's just a good place to live. So plus, we're also home of Oklahoma State University Technology, or OSU IT. And years ago, it was Oklahoma State Tech, and it's evolved, and then we have some 4-year programs there now. And we have a new president there, Bill Path, and since he's taken reign, and he's connected the university with the town, and the town with the university. And just recently, the old post office, which is just on I believe the 5th and Grand, was totally renovated and made into apartments for student housing. We do have a renovation of sorts going on. Like I said, we are a Main Street town, and we do have a large historic preservation district. But in recent years, we've had the influx of investors coming into our town and converting upstairs spaces into lofts and apartments for students and other people who want to live in a more modern type setting. But anyway, I would invite any of you to come down to Okmulgee anytime, take a little walking tour, meet Heather at Main Street, meet Kay at the Chamber of Commerce, or if I'm in town, I'm at 109 South Grand, and I can tell you a little bit more about the history of Okmulgee. But I enjoy it here, and I'm pleased and honored to have been part of this community for well over 65 years.
Wow. Tell me about Dolly Payne Madison.
Well, it's Dolly Payne Madison. She was the first lady of the White House, you know, before they had actually first ladies, and then she married James Madison, and they lived in D.C., and she was the hostess that took care of everything that was formal at the White House.
Well, tell me the connection again.
My great grandmother's maiden name was Payne.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting. David, my late partner, did the research of names, common names in our family on the Payne side, and the majority of male names was James. There was always a James somewhere, and the other was Elizabeth or Eliza. And those were the two women, and James was just the predominant. But there's also a Madison. And for the most part, they went by their initials. They didn't go by their names.
Okay.
My great-grandfather was J.M. Payne, James Madison Payne. And so, yeah. But I have my grandmother told me about this for years, that she had a letter from Dolly Payne Madison. And she had some other documents that her mother had given her. Well, when she passed away, my mom told me about seeing them. I never did see them. So when she passed away, we were cleaning her stuff out and everything. And I got to the bottom of the drawer, and there was a lining in there, but there was something underneath it. So I took the lining out, and there was this envelope, and I opened it up. And lo and behold, it was a round robin letter. And it started with Dolly Payne Madison's dad. And it went to each one of his children. He sent it to one child. They would write a little bit onto it, send it to the next child. They would write a little bit, and it went all the way around to each child and came back to the father. I've got it. And then I have some other documentations that she had. I have several relatives on that Payne side that were married to other political figures during that time period. Like Dolly's nieces and nephews, they married. One was married to George Washington's grandson, and one was married to Patrick Henry's son. You know, it's just, they were all there together. But we did, when the Antiques Roadshow came to Milwaukee, I went to Tulsa the first time.
Yep.
That's what I took. And so they were just like, oh my gosh. And they were looking at it, and I had some letters from the United States military, the federal government. It was all done by hand. It was perfect calligraphy. It wasn't typed. About a relative of mine applying for a benefit from, I believe it was the, I'm not sure, it wasn't the Civil War, it was after that. But anyway, he had applied for a pension and had been denied. Well, my grandmother kept that. But the interesting thing was the round robin, they loved that. The other thing, I had a little scrap of paper. It wasn't any bigger than that, it was just hand scribbled on. And the guy was looking at it, and he said, oh, well, yeah. And he said, you need to go online and go into the archives, National Archives. And he said, in this time period, he gave me time period. He said, this is a rough draft of a speech that somebody had written for a politician. And he said, so I would advise that you get to the National Archives and just get in that area of that particular year, couple of years, 3 years, and start looking at speeches that are in there and see if you can find any of this in there. And if you do, that will give you an indication that they'll say who wrote the speech, and that way you'll know you have some of the original notes.
Whoa. Whoa, that's incredible. We're thinking about it since there were two of us, but they didn't know.
They actually go back 5 minutes.
Or that was the last plan I heard.
I'll turn the camera.
Oh, you got blackmail today.
Be glad Norma's up here. They should take over. They wouldn't know what the hell was talking about. Now, Jimmy's got that cemetery lot meeting. That cemetery lot meeting, I think it's called cemetery board. Well, whatever. He had his ablation yesterday.
That's what one of them went well.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning. He's already out of the hospital.
Oh, really?
I called him.
They don't keep us in
9:30.
hospital.
I said, how are you? And he said, well, those drugs are better than any whiskey I ever heard. She said, I will, but then he said, I'm real sweet.
I'm surprised that a lot of people act in the hospital.
Now, how many years have you done this, Wade?
In Okmulgee, 38 years.
38 years. Were you here in this same spot?
I've been in this spot for 29 years.
Okay.
This barbershop has been here since the mid-1920s.
Wow. Well, Wade, I'm going to let you get at your business and say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.